Hello! Yes! And welcome to our Objective 11 notes. Now, Objective 11 says, I can find the slope of a linear function and understand it as the rate of change. So that's what we're going to talk about today, slope. And that's an idea we might be familiar with. We're going to really hit it home, make sure we have a really solid understanding moving forward this year. All right? So slope can be defined as the steepness and direction of a line. And it's also known as the rate of change. So I'll use those words interchangeably. Rate of change, slope, they mean the same thing here. Now, a positive slope means as x increases, y increases. And a negative slope would be as x increases, y decreases. And the reason for that is because as x is getting higher, if y is going higher, that graph is going to be going up. As x is getting higher, if y decreases, goes down, that graph's going to be going down. So we're reading that left to right. Does that make sense? Because as left, x is at -6. As we move to the right, x gets higher. So like looking at letter A, from left to right, this line is going down. Right? So this would have a negative slope. Whereas at letter B here, from left to right, this graph is going up. So it's a positive slope. And C would be a negative slope. We can see because from left to right, the graph is going down. All right, so here are some different ways we can write slope. Obviously, we can call it the rate of change. We can call it slope. How far up divided by how far right. That's also known as rise over run, or change in y over change in x. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 in m. All of these are ways that we can write it. Change in y over change in x. You'll see that a lot in physics. Delta y over delta x. That's what change is represented as. y2 minus y1. That's the slope formula right there. M is the common variable. Think about slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. That's our slope. Rise over run. Really common to hear slope referred to that as well. So what I'd like us to do is use the graphs to find the slope. So what we're going to do is we're going to select points that are easy to read on this graph. So points that are integers. So looking at letter A, I see a point here. Let's see, where else is there a point? Looks like there's one here. All right, so how far down to how far over, right? How far up to how far right, rise, run. So notice we'd be going 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 down. So that'd be -7 over. How far to the right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -7 fifths. So the slope of this line would be -7 fifths. We went down 7 for every 5 right we go over. Remember, it's a change in y, change in x. So let's look here. It looks like it crosses right at 1 for letter B, and then it looks like it crosses here at 5 as well. Okay, so let's see. We go up 1, and then we go over to the right. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. So the slope for this line would be 1/5. Looking at letter C. Let's see. I'm trying to find a point. I think this is one here. That looks like it'd be at -2, 5. And notice it looks like there's one here. Also looks like there's one here. One here. Fantastic. All right. So I'm going to go down 3 and then over 1. So that slope would be -3 over 1. Let's check to make sure that that works for all of these. Down 3 over 1. Down 3 over 1. Very good. That checks out. So notice -3 over 1. I can simplify that fraction. That would just be -3. And that would be my slope here. All right. Let's try a couple more together, and then we'll have you do some on your own. So let's look at letter A here. I'm looking for a point. It looks like this is a point here at -3, 4. And here looks to be a point as well. So notice in this one, I went up 1 and over 3. Up 1, right 3. So that means this slope would be 1/3. All right, look in here. All right, here's a point. at 0, 2. I'm trying to find another integer right here. Let's to be 1. So let's go. How far down? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went down 4, and then I went right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. So the slope of this line would be -4 fifths. Let's see. Here we go. -2. Look, I think that these are all just points right here. So for each of these, I'm going up 1, right 1. So my slope would be up 1, right 1. 1 divided by 1 is just 1. All right, why don't you go ahead and try D, E, and F on your own. Try to find out what these slopes may be. Think about what D and F might be showing us. Take your best guess, and then we'll talk about those here in a sec. So go ahead and try D, E, and F on your own, and then I will let you pause the video, and then we'll check it together. All right, let's check what we got here. So looking at letter D, notice all of these points are horizontal. So remember, this is rise over run. So how far up did this line go? Well, it didn't go up any. It went up 0. How far over did it go? It went over 2. Well, what's 0 divided by anything? 0, right? So this horizontal line has a slope of 0. In fact, all horizontal lines have a slope of 0. All right, let's talk about letter E. All right, it looks like -2, 2 is a point here, and I'm going over. It looks like 0, -1, let's be a point. Yep, that's checking out. So I went down 3 and over to the right 2. So that would be -3 over 2. Did we find our slope to be -3/2? Hopefully we did. All right, now looking at letter F. Okay, this is a vertical line, all right? So let's pick these points here. So how far up did I go? I went up 3. How far over did I go? I didn't go over anything. Well, 3 divided by 0, some red flags should be going off in our head right now. This is nutso. Can't be having that, all right? 3 divided by 0 can't divide by 0. We're not allowed to do it. It can't be done. Can't divide by 0. All right? So what does that mean for our slope if we can't calculate it? Well, it means that our slope is undefined, and that's the word we'll use whenever this occurs. Vertical lines have an undefined slope. And that's simply because you can't divide by 0. All right. Raise your hands if you have any questions calculating slope based off a graph. Again, all we're doing is picking points that we can see that we're confident in, and then putting the change in y over the change in x, rise over run there. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to use the example from E above to algebraically calculate the slope of the line. So I want to show you what that looks like if we're given points. So let's say we have this point here, which is -2, 2, and this point here, oh, sorry, and this point here, let's call that, let's see, that'd be 2, -4. All right, so this is where we're going to use our slope formula. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we have the points -2, 2, and 2, -4. So we're going to say this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. Those are our 2 points. So then we plug in these values. So y2 is -4 minus y1 is 2 over x2 is 2 and x1 is -2. Notice I'm minusing both of those there, so subtracting a negative, that'll turn that into positive. -4 minus 2 would give me -6. 2 plus 2, right? This will become 2 plus 2, which is 4. -6 over 4 is not fully simplified. -3/2 is fully simplified. So that would be our slope there. And what that tells us is that for every 3 we go down, we go to the right 2. All right, which if we compare with what we found in letter E is the same thing. We found the same thing, -3/2. Very cool. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go ahead and find these slopes algebraically using that same process we just did. All right, and then we're going to graph to double check to make sure everything checks out and is correct. All right, so looking at letter A, we're going to find the slope between the points 5, 1 and -3, -5. So I'll say this is x1, y1, this is x2 and y2. And remember the formula we're using, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The change in y over the change in x. So y2 is -5 minus y1 is 1 over x2 is -3 minus x1, which is 5. All right, so -5 minus 1 would give me -6. -3 minus 5 would give me -8. Well, -6 divided by -8 is not fully simplified. What could we simplify that to? I believe we could simplify that to 3/4. So let's check our work here. So if I plot the points 5, 1 and -3, -5, what this is telling me is that if I go up 3, I need to go right 4. So let's go up 3, right 4. That'd put me here. And let's do it again. Up 3, right 4. Yes, look at that. Fantastic. All right, and then it asks us to draw a line through these points because we just calculated the slope of this line. The slope of that line is 3/4, 3/4. Up 3, right 4. Very nice. All right, let's try another. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. And we're going to plug this into our formula where m equals y2 is -4 minus y1 is 3 over x2 is 3 minus x1 is -4. All right, well, -4 minus 3 would be -7. 3 minus -4 would be the same as 3 plus 4, which is 7. -7 divided by 7 is not fully simplified. We could simplify that to -1. All right, let's check our work here. So I'll go -4, 3, and 3, -4. That'd put me right here. Now notice m equals -1, so that's the same as -1 over 1. So it's saying down 1, right 1. 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 And hey, what do you know? We end up going through the point that we wanted at 3, -4. So let's go ahead and draw our line through those points. Beautiful. Fantastic. All right. Raise your hand if you have any questions. Let's try a couple more of these together, and I'll let you do a few on your own. So let's start here with letter C. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. And of course, m equals y2, which is 2, minus y1, which is 6, over x2, -1, minus x1, which is 2. All right, well, 6 minus 2 is -4. -1 minus 2 is -3. -4 over -3, well, a negative divided by a negative gives us a positive, so we're going to say that that's 4/3. All right, now let's plot them, figure out how we're feeling about that. -1, 2 is right there. 2, 6 is way up here. So it's saying if I go up 4 and over 3, I should end up on this spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yes, indeed. Draw a line to connect. Going that way. Beautiful. Awesome. All right. Last one we'll do together. Letter D. -6, -4, and -1, 3. So we have x1, we have y1, we have x2, and y2. So m equals y2, 3, minus y1, minus 4, over x2, -1, minus, -1 minus x1, -6. All right, well, 3 minus -4 would become 3 plus 4, which would be 7. -1 minus -6 would become -1 plus 6. -1 plus 6 is 5. So we're going to take a stab and say that our slope is 7/5. Let's plot these points and find out. So we have -6, -4. That's going to put me right here. -1, 3. That's going to put me right here. So do I go up 7 and right 5 to get from this point to this one? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure enough, I do. Excellent. All right. Draw a line connecting the points. And we can be pretty confident that m equals 7/5. All right. Raise your hand if you have any questions or still aren't quite sure what we're doing. I would like you to go ahead and try letter E and letter F. Go ahead and try those two, letter E and F, on your own. Pause the video, and then we'll see how we do together. All right, let's see how we did here with E and F. So looking at letter E, we have x1, y1, we have x2, and y2. All right, so m equals y2, -5, minus y1, 1, over x2, 3, minus x1, -4. So -5 minus 1 would be -6. 3 minus -4 would become 3 plus 4, which is 7. Did we find m to be -6/7? Let's find out what happens when we graph it. So -4, 1 goes right here. 3, -5 be right here. So do we go down 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, indeed, we do. All right, draw a line connecting the dots. Fantastic. All right, looking at letter F here. 1, -4, and -5, -4. So we have x1 here, we have y1 here, we have x2 here, y2 here. So y2, -4, minus, let's see, minus a -4 over x2 is -5 minus 1. So -4 minus -4 would become -4 plus 4, which is just 0, over -5 minus 1, which is -6. All right, well, if I see that 0 in my numerator, that's telling me it didn't go up at all. So this should be a horizontal line. All horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Let's see what happens when we plot these points. 1, -4 would be right here. -5, -4. Sure enough, right there. Check the horizontal line that we get now. Very nice. Yes, indeed. M equals 0, horizontal line. Fantastic. All right. Looking at letter G, -2, 6, and 4, -4. So we have x1, y1, we have x2, y2, slope equals y2, -4, minus y1, 6, over x2, 4, minus x1, -2. -4 minus 6 is -10. Over 4 minus -2 becomes 4 plus 2, which is 6. This can be simplified. M equals -5/3. All right, m equals -5/3. So we'll go, let's see, plot these points. -2, 6 be right here. 4 and -4 would be right here. Let's go, let's see here, down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 3, 1, 2, 3, that would give me a point right here. Down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 3, 1, 2, 3, perfect. And that'll get me right back to that point. Excellent. Draw a line connecting these dots. Fantastic. All right, last one. Why don't you try this one on your own? H, -3, -3, and 5, 5. Go ahead, I'll give you a minute. Go ahead and try that on your own. Pause the video and do your best, and then let's check it together. All right, let's check how we did here for letter H. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. So m would be 5 minus -3 over 5 minus -3. Now notice here, this will become 8 over 8, which of course is 1. All right, so what this is telling me is it should be up 1, right 1 to get from one of these points to the other. And if I look, -3 is here, 5, 5 is here. If I go up 1, right 1, all the way, that diagonal, sure enough, will go through both of those points. So go ahead and draw a line connecting these values. There we go. All right. Hopefully we're feeling good about finding the slope algebraically, checking it graphically. We can even find it graphically. Lots of work we can do here. What I'd like you to do now is I would like you to go ahead and raise your hand if you have any questions, or continue on where we're going to look at tables. All right, now tables don't really change anything. It's just how the point's written is a little different. All right, so identify the rate of change from the table below. So notice as x goes up by 1, all right, each of these increase by 1. What happens to y? Well, this one goes up by 4. And this one then goes up by 4, and this one then goes up by 4. So my change in y, remember slope equals my change in y over my change in x. So how much did y change? Y changed by 4. For every, how much did x change? 1. So my m, my slope, is just 4 over 1, so my rate of change here is 4. Now notice here, x again going up by 1. What's happening with y? Negative 1 goes to negative 4, so this went down by 3. Negative 4 to negative 7, down by 3. All right, so my change in y over my change in x, well, my change in y was negative 3. My x was 1. What's negative 3 divided by 1? Negative 3. My rate of change there, my slope would be negative 3. All right, now notice here, x going up by 1 as I head this direction. All right, what's happening here? We're going up by 7. 11 goes to 18, and 18 then goes to 25. So my change in y over my change in x, y is changing by 7. For every 1 x changes by, my rate of change then would be 7 over 1, or just 7. All right, so that's how we can do it, but notice what was happening on this on these tables and what's not happening here. Notice up top, all of these x's were changing by 1. All right, all of the x's were changing by 1. That's not the case here. Notice this one is 2, this one is 3, this one is 2, this one is 4. If it's not consistent, we need to have a little different approach. How can we find the rate of change? Well, it's still giving us points, and we can use those points, all right? So let's look here. What would this line tell us? X is negative 2, y is negative 9. That'd be the point negative 2, comma, negative 9. And what's this point telling us? 0, 1, right? X is 0, y is 1. Well, what did I just find here? I just found 2 points. We can call that x1, y1, and x2, y2. That works for any of these points. You can pick which ones you want to be x1, y1, and which ones you want to be x2, y2. All right? The important thing is that you just make sure that these all align together. All right, I don't know how this opened. Go down. There we go. All right, so now that we've done that, let's go ahead and use the formula that we know. So m equals y2, 1, minus, let's see, y1 would be negative 9, over x2, 0, minus x1, negative 2. Well, 1 minus negative 9 would become 1 plus 9, which is 10. 0 minus negative 2 would become 0 plus 2, which is 2. So we'd find here that m equals 5. And that would be our slope here. All right. Raise your hand if you have any questions about that. Let's try a couple of these together. All right, let's try A and B together here. So looking at letter A, negative 1 to 2, so that increases by 3. That increases by 2, that increases by 3. So none of these increase by 1. In order to look directly, we need to have them increase by 1. That's not the case here. So we're going to have to use some points. So let's use negative 1, 7, and 2, 1. So negative 1, 7, and 2, comma, 1. So here's x1, y1, x2, y2. M, of course, equals y2, 1, minus x1, 7. Minus y1, 7, over x2, 2, minus y1, x1, negative 1. 1 minus 7 is negative 6, and 2 minus negative 1 would become 2 plus 1, which is 3. Negative 6 divided by 3 tells me that my rate of change here is negative 2. All right. What about letter B? All right. This one goes up by 3, this one's by 2, this one's by 3. None of these are consistent either. Darn. Okay, so we can use some points here. Now notice we have some decimals. I'm going to avoid those. I don't want to use points with decimals. That sounds gross. So we're going to use 2, 8, and 10, 12. So 2, 8, and 10, 12. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. Now that's not to say you can't use points with decimals. You can. I'm going to try to keep using integers as we do this, make the math a little bit easier. So m equals y2, 12 minus y1, 8 over x2, 10 minus x1, 2. 12 minus 8 is 4, 10 minus 2 is 8, 4 over 8 would reduce to 1/2. So my rate of change here would be 1/2. All right, raise your hand if you have any questions. Otherwise, why don't you go ahead and try C and D on your own. Try to find the rate of change or the slope for the tables shown in C and D. Pause the video, and then we'll resume when you're ready to check your work. All right, let's check how we did for C and D. Now, you might have selected different points than me, and that is okay. Really, for C or D, you could select any of these points to try to find the slope, and that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to use, for letter C, points 422 and 842. And that's simply because I like how these numbers are going to work out here. So I got 422 and I have 842. So we have x1, y1, we got x2, y2. All right, so my slope, y2, 42, minus y1, 22, over x2, 8 minus x1, 4. Well, 42 minus 22, 20. 8 minus 4, 4. What's 20 divided by 4? 5. So hopefully we found that the rate of change for letter C is 5. Looking at letter D, I'm going to pick these points, 0, 2, and 6, 0. I like working with 0 a lot. It makes things pretty darn easy. All right, so we got x1, we got y1, we got x2, we got y2. So y2, 0, minus y1, 2, over x2, 6, minus x1, 0. So negative 2 over 6. The rate of change for this one, negative 1/3. All right, well, hopefully we're feeling pretty confident. This is actually going to be where we stop today. So I want you to go ahead and pause. There's a chat for understanding up on the board. Go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I will see you next time to finish these notes. Mr. Carter, signing off. We'll see you again soon.